What you Strappin? NTH Nacken Renegade again. This time I paired it with, I believe I got this strap from Cheapest NATO Strap. Don't know what the specific gray is, but it is a single pass. Quite comfortable. It's not that expensive, but it works. And I think it pairs up pretty nicely with this particular watch. The way the dial, just with that bluish gray and to a light gray or silver color that it transforms to. And again, you can see where the transition is between the bluishness in the center towards the darkness on the outside. There's even a bit of brown or tan going on, but all that just kind of works well with a good universal gray kind of NATO strap. Well, actually, it's not even a NATO, it's a single pass. I consider these like Zulu. I mean, what do you guys call it? I don't feel like there's a definitive name for this style. For some reason, I think Zulu, people refer to those as the ones that have those really large, well, kind of large, roundish keepers. I don't particularly like those. Those like hang out too far and have too much gap, and they just look really big and unwieldy for a strap. It is unnecessarily large, kind of. They're not D rings, but they're just these loops or that's metal rings. They're kind of thick, and they usually have a lot of gap. The only ones I've seen that made those in a more smaller form that's almost like this, but it's a little thicker and it's just smaller is, I think, I want to say Wrist Candy Watch Club possibly does that, but I don't know anyone else does that makes those other kind of keepers. Anyways, this is what I got today, Saturday. Enjoying this watch. Yeah, this keeper. I've been actually tweaking this one a bit. It's been maybe it was too early. I should break it in, but as far as I can tell, on the time grapher, it kind of confirms it too. Is that it's running about -4 per day, -4 seconds, which has been my average over the last 2-ish days since I got it. Pretty much had it since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2-3 days maybe. But yeah, it's been about -4, which is not terrible, but I'd prefer it to be in the positive, or if not, more or less holding time, of course, would be best. Either way, but if it errors, I'd rather go to the plus. So I've been messing around with this on the time grapher. Yeah, double check the beat error. I did screw that up a little bit, but I did get it back into place, so that's fine. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to get this to right about where it'd be pretty perfect, like where my glycine is, which again, after about 3 weeks, it only lost basically. It hovered around, wherever I'd set the time, a little bit, 1 + 1, it's 2 seconds sometimes a day. Then sometimes it might zero back out to exactly where it was. Sometimes it dips to the minus. But in the end, it did go into -3 after about 3 weeks. Yeah. And that's with constant wear, day and sleeping. And that's how I usually wear it. I just like to keep it going. It seems to run more consistent that way, at least my habits. So I'm trying to get it that place. If not, at least in the positive. I'll have to check back on this, and I set this about roughly 3 hours ago. The last time I messed with this, and it looked like it was a good spot in terms of the time grapher. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. If it's really at least dial side up, it was +2, maybe +3 seconds. I don't know if I let it settle long enough to really get a good reading like this, but again, it really comes down to how you wear your watches and in practice, and then adjust accordingly. But time grapher is a good baseline to at least establish what it should be at, and then when you wear it, and you kind of gauge like, okay, where is it in practice? And then you put this on the time graph again. It should read where it last was reading. If you give it enough time to settle, right? back to where it should have been, and then you just kind of you tweak it. You say you need plus. It will say this was slow, about 2 seconds, and it was reading say +2. Then you probably want to just push it and then read the readings and see if it'll be +4, right? And then if it holds around there, then put it back together, put it on the wrist, give it a good run again. Whatever you do, don't do what you do, and check it out and see if that actually did hone it into basically +0 or whatever, or closer to it. And that's how you go about it. It's time consuming, but there's something to be said about getting a watch that functions very consistently, accurately. I find that I tend to want to pick it up more and keep it on more, because I can, no matter how long I have it, it'll probably last. I don't have to. It's one of those watches where you don't have to babysit it and keep checking it as often, although I still do, just to know, just in case something throws it off for some reason. But there's more confidence going in, keeping a watch on that is really keeping consistent time, and you don't feel the need to fuss with it, to go into it, adjust it again, or just even hack it or reset it if it is running slower, because you'll have to advance the time. And then usually when it's running slow in the past, I'd probably just let it set it a few, depending on what the difference is. I'd set it whatever seconds ahead and let it kind of back play until it's it gets to be in sync, and then eventually it might go slower than the actual sync time. And at that time, I feel if there's enough deviation, I'll reset it again. Versus if it's a plus, you just hack it, wait, and then let it go again. Or you might even sync it at the slightly behind, so it'll catch up and then go fast. That's usually the way I would do it. If it gives you a little range. I like to have no more than a plus 15 or 20 seconds, I think, at most. 30 seconds is all right. I feel the need to start to reset the watch, resync it at that point. But if if it's any plus or minus 30 seconds, so if it's fast, maybe 20 seconds. Sorry. So if it's fast, then I'll set it 20 seconds behind, and then let it so it'll catch up to 0, and then it'll advance eventually to plus 20, and then I will stop and sync it again, right? Versus the other way, if it's slow 20, then I would I'm fine with setting it 20 seconds ahead. It'll slowly reach back down to 0, and then you have an additional time with it to it's about minus 20 seconds behind, and then at that point I will probably reset the watch. So that's the range that I give the wearer before I reset the a watch in the past. If it's gaining or minus, that's how I do it. So yeah, but if it's holding very consistent time, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel the need to do that nearly as often, because it's just it doesn't waver all that much. Again, like my glycine, after about 2 weeks, about 3 weeks, only minus 3 seconds. So that's still well within tolerance. What I'm used to. Sorry, what I'm used to, right? So if I have to wait till it's about 20 seconds behind, well, shoot. 3 weeks gave me, if it's kept about a second a week, that would technically make it 20 weeks until it gets to minus 20 seconds, right? It should, if all things are equal and consistent like that, it should average out to something like that. So I think so if minus 3 seconds a week after 3 weeks, I'm sorry, minus 1 second a week because it's minus 3 seconds after 3 weeks. So that means a second minus 1 second a week. Then yeah, I probably wouldn't have to reset it for 20 weeks, which is what 4 weeks in a month. Shoot, probably five. Would it be 5 months? It could be, right? Almost around there. So that's why I try to get my watch really running consistent, accurately enough so that I don't have to fiddle with it. Probably won't be wearing one watch. The few that I have, but still, I probably won't be wearing even one quite that long in a row. I think that most I've done is I had done it with my Rolex because I got it back from service and I really wanted to see how long it would break in, and I probably got it back in November, December, January. So at least 2 months, I think, maybe three at most. I'm thinking maybe 2.5. I pretty much wore that straight just to see where it was, and it still wasn't as accurate as what you can get out of the Miyota, like this in here, or a Seiko, or any Swiss Etta or Salida movement, at least in any modern ones. That one's vintage, that Rolex I have, so I give it some slack, and it's more of an heirloom, and I just wear it for sentimental value. And it's cool to go simple, classic Rolex once in a while. But these will probably, this and some of the other ones you've seen, will probably be my main go-to watches for the most part. Anyways, this got a bit long, but I just wanted to explain some things that are in my head while I'm talking about the strap and everything. I think it's a great color combination. Yep, have a good one.